So you good?
I'm good.
Our meeting has come to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner,
Here.
Reverend Campbell,
Here.
Mr. Gilstrap,
Here.
Mr. Jones, Vice Mayor Miller,
Here.
Mr. Raleigh,
Here.
Mayor Saunders,
Here.
Mr. Shanks,
Here.
Mr. Vogler.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge. Oh God, our Lord, as we gather for this meeting, may your wisdom and counsel guide us as we seek to act in a way that will benefit all the citizens of this great city. Help us to think carefully before we speak, to act with courage and conviction for the good of all, and to deal charitably with one another. Amen.
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 I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, I have a proclamation, and I would like to ask Ms. Rachel Covington to please come to the podium. And accompanying her is Dr. Julie Brown. Welcome. Whereas the city of Danville understands that national service can be a cost-effective strategy to address local challenges. And whereas participating in consistent volunteer service is connected to problem solving, connecting to our neighbors, and transforming lives. And whereas people who volunteer are also all more likely to participate in other elements of civic life. And whereas we know that volunteering is associated with higher odds of employment, especially in rural areas. And whereas we applaud the efforts of Avery University, the Boys and Girls Club of Danville area, Danville Public Schools, God's Storehouse, Goodwill Industries of South Central Virginia, and the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research for hosting AmeriCorps, members in an effort to strengthen our city. Now, therefore, I, Sherman M. Saunders, Mayor, City of Danville, and on behalf of City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, April 5th, 2016, as Recognition Day for National Service, and applaud those individuals who volunteer their time and service in our community. Given under my hand this 5th day of April, 2016, Sherman M. Saunders, Mayor. Thank you all so much for what you do. Thank you so much. And Doctor, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay? And we'll do it again. Thank you. Would you like to have some remarks?
Yes. We would just like to thank everyone for recognizing the key role that national service plays in solving local problems and challenges. Tonight you join more than 3,400 localities across the country that also believe in the positive effects of national service. Through this proclamation, you are highlighting the tremendous impact of citizen service, showing support for nonprofit and national service groups, and inspiring more residents to serve in their communities.
Mayor Saunders, council members, Mr. Larking, and city staff, the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research hosts the Dan River Year AmeriCorps program, placing dynamic and talented individuals in Danville Public Schools and other partner agencies throughout the region. In addition, there's 27 of them, AmeriCorps members are focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math initiatives throughout the city and Pittsylvania County. There are also AmeriCorps Vista members working in our community at Avery University, the Boys and Girls Club, God's Storehouse, and Goodwill Industries. So on behalf of our organizations, we want to thank you for recognizing national service.
Thank you. Before you leave, do you have volunteers tonight with you in the room?
Yes,
We
we have
do.
several
Actively, please stand.
AmeriCorps members
You
and
please stand.
also Averett students who are part of the higher ed council. So if they could stand to be recognized.
Okay. Thank you all so much for your volunteer service. And please tell Miss Alexis Earhart to get well soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, a presentation by City of Danville Information Technology Department Director, Ms. Inez Rodenberg. Welcome, Inez.
Good evening, members
Good
of
evening.
council. If you just give me a second, I'm going to switch over here and bring up our presentation. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you this evening about some of the applications that the city has implemented for community development and community engagement. All these applications are available on the city's website if you go to danvilleva.gov. I'd like to start this evening with our GIS program. About a year ago, we implemented a series of what we call GIS story maps. They're geographic locations tied to visual images that tell the story. And we've implemented 4 such maps on the city's website. They include the Riverwalk Trail, the River District, historical markers, and the art trail. Community engagement involves the community and describing and depicting the amenities that we have in the community. So these are just a few of the applications that our residents can go to see some of the great features that we have in Danville. About a year ago, we implemented a new application called Scheduled Road Closures Maps. This constantly changes depending on the construction that is going on in Danville. So this application showcases some of the scheduled road closures that we have in Danville. The second phase of this application will include utilities work. Our community crime map depicts crime in the city. Residents can drill down to locations, neighborhoods, properties, and see recent and current crime in that area. We can pull up information on an annual basis. This particular presentation shows heat zones, and so residents can kind of see where the information is. The real estate parcel information has been in development for quite some time. This ties our real estate information back to our parcel data. Residents can search by account number, location, property, address, ownership, and sales information. And by looking at that information, it pulls up information assessment. They can view images of the houses, transfer, and so forth. My community map ties the geographic information back to amenities within the community. You can drill down to the neighborhood level or the property level, and it will showcase some of the services that we have in those areas. Not only city services, but businesses as well. Danville Park Finder is one of our most recent applications that we've implemented. This showcases all the facilities that we have in the Danville community. Residents can search for trails, parks, facilities tied back to parks and recreation, and visitors can see the great amenities that we have in the city of Danville. The Economic Development Site Selection Tool depicts our available sites and buildings. It also provides quite extensive demographic information, including income and educational information. So residents and visitors can search by the available properties. They can put in square footage, and they can find available properties that they might be interested in. About a year ago, we implemented an open data initiative. From that initiative, we've created 3 different websites, and actually Danville was one of the first in the nation to do so. The first, what you see here, is our open data portal. And from that portal, we provide a lot of transparency to our residents. Performance data includes right now police information, so it kind of gives an indication of where we're measuring ourselves with police. By the end of summer, we will include more public safety information, additional information measures from the police department, and additional measures from the fire department. Financial transparency. Residents want to know how the city is spending money. This information provides that. Residents can drill down on expenditures, where the money's being spent, how much money is being spent, and a lot of other information that would be very informational to them. This includes the general ledger and all accounts and funds within the city. The budget information, which is right now currently showcasing this current fiscal year, the proposed budget will be available within the next month or so. This provides the residents with information of where is that money being spent. What's quite interesting is that you can see geographically where some of those capital improvements are being planned. So the residents have a pretty good idea of where that money's being spent and information regarding some of those projects. Fix It Danville was implemented approximately a year and a half ago. It's our avenue and our application allow property owners, residents, visitors to report issues that they may see in the community. For example, you see a pothole, you see graffiti on the building. We want to know about that. That gives us additional eyes into the city services. Go access this information on the city's website, submit the issue, report the location. This automatically gets integrated into our work order management system. Staff in the field can look at the issue and resolve it. This application is actually available on mobile devices, iPhone and Android. Makes it quite simple. Take a picture out in the field, click it, the city's going to fix it. My account is our utility billing information, which is available to all utility customers. You can, through this application, view your utility billing information, consumption history, meter information. You can go back several years, you can go back by months. We are in the process of implementing a new utility portal. One of the advantages of that application is that we will be able to provide daily and hourly electric read information. Police to Citizen application is an application available on the city's website. This provides instant information on most wanted, recent arrests. If you've had a traffic accident, you can go to this website, pull up the information, and run a report. The city has provided a lot of information towards our social media platform. The city has 4 robust websites. The city main website, which provides service information and information about the quality of Danville. We also have an application for the library. Interested in reading a book, want to find out if the city has that book, you can simply go to that website. The Parks and Recreation website depicts our facilities, events, and all information that you want to know about our facilities. And finally, our economic development website. Facebook, we are everywhere. We have Facebook accounts with the City of Danville, River City TV. If you have not been to River City TV recently, please do so. You can see the drones flying. It's pretty neat. Fire, police, library, and Parks and Recreation. Instagram. You may not be using this, but maybe your kids are. My daughter does, so this is pretty neat. Twitter, we have several accounts with Twitter. And YouTube. If you don't have one, you might have another. So I think we've pretty much covered every single aspect of social media if you have one particular aspect that you're interested in. And finally, if you go to the city's website, there's a page where you can sign up for instant notification on a lot of these information. I hope that you'll take a look at some of the information that we have available at the city's website. Somewhere, somehow, there's a page that will interest you on how you can become more engaged with the city. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Inez. Great job. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, I just want to salute you. Work. This is excellent, excellent. I'm glad to see the upgrades that you're doing.
Thank you.
And Mr. Shanks.
Yeah, Inez, I likewise would like to do so. As a lot of folks may know, I deal in real estate through my profession, and I'm constantly using the GIS site for zoning issues, for real estate transactions. It's by far the most superior website that I've seen, and I practice a lot of places around the state, particularly in South and Southwest Virginia. And your site, the city site, is awesome. It's the best there is. I'm interested in, I did not realize you had the crime maps. I'm interested in that. I've been a subscriber of the instant notification for a long time, and that's fantastic. It includes jobs that are put out for bid for citizens and companies in the area and all that. I'm looking forward to looking at the open data portal. I haven't seen it. Has that been up long?
It's been up for about a year.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds really encouraging. Yeah. Lastly, the one thing I wanted to mention that the community probably needs to have some input in is on my community map. Different companies can be listed under different categories, and right now, and rightfully so, you list only one category. And I don't think the public necessarily has been involved in what category they're listed in. For instance, and I just tried to get on. I haven't been able to get on it here. I'm not sure what my connection is in this room. But for instance, I have a civil engineering and surveying business, and I'm a year or 6 months ago was listed as surveyor, and I had asked to get that changed to civil engineer. I don't know if it's been done, but somebody put me in the pigeonhole, and I hope the public has an opportunity to tell you what their main purpose in business is. The website is awesome, and I once again I'll say for people in real estate and zoning and things like that, that GIS site real estate site is really, really good. And I appreciate you taking the lead and letting Danville be the leader in the area for this type of project.
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, I'm just in awe of the amount of information you've all gotten together and put on this website. I mean, I can't imagine how much work it took. So I just commend you and your whole department and the people in the other departments who gave you the information. This is just remarkable. Who knows when somebody decides to suddenly is randomly looking for a place to settle, live, or put their business here and see this. They have to be impressed. And it's just a major quantum leap forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Raleigh.
Yes, Inez. Two things that excite me about what y'all have done over the last 3 years. One, I think it makes Danville the most transparent city in the country. I don't know of anybody that gives this kind of information out. And number two is, which really excites me, is that anybody in the world can click on and see exactly what we see. And that's really important in these times in economic development. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Vogler.
Yeah, thank you, Inez, for the presentation and for all the work that you've done. And in many ways, that Danville continues to become a cutting-edge 21st century city, particularly the open data Danville platform. Many remember I was a big proponent of, and as you mentioned, we were one of the first to do. And I've had a lot of citizens in the past year tell me that they have used it and found it to be a great resource. And I want to thank you all for the work that you've done on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gilstrap.
I too want to congratulate you, and I was sort of joking earlier that you was going to receive an award tonight, and you said, no, you were just making a presentation. Well, you should be given an award. It's a great job, great service, and I'm very proud that you are providing this for our world, our citizens, but especially the worldwide. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Buckner.
Yes, Inez, I just wanted to echo what everybody else has said and say thank you for all the hard work that you're doing to push Danville well into the 21st century. Thank you.
Inez, again, special thanks to you as the leader of our IT department. Special thanks to all of your staff, all the employees. You make our city look great. We all know about the World Wide Web. And Danville is literally all over the world. the world can see us and find out anything they want to. And I think that's great. So this speaks well for our city. More importantly, it speaks well for you and your staff. And we thank you, and please continue to bring new ideas. Now, how you're going to top this, I have no idea, okay? But we'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, under citizen comments, and the rules are attached to the agenda in terms of time limitations, but those who desire to speak on matters not on the agenda will be heard at this time. Those that speak on agenda items will be heard when the item is considered. Anyone wish to speak? Anyone? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'm Harold Garrison.
Welcome, sir.
On Westover Drive. Mr. Mayor, members of council, city staff, I'm here tonight to ask you to not provide $1.8 million in funding to the school system for the precision machining program. I will give you some reasons why I think you should not do that. The first is there's no need in this area. I think all of you have a copy of this survey. This survey says of the 1,220 jobs that are projected to be out for people in the next 4 years, 13 are for machinists. If you know something that I don't know, and there's somebody telling you they're going to bring a company in here and plop down 100 jobs for precision machinist, you better vet them really well, because their long-term business plan is not good. Second is technology. This is a novelty. It was printed on an SLS, rapid prototyper. If you turn one gear, they all turn. Old technology. New technology. This is 3D printed metal. It's printed on a, and I want to get this exactly right, direct metal laser sintering machine. The difference between the machines that print this and this is the difference between the Tandy computers and the PCs that you have on your desk right now, or even your iPhones. There is a company right now in Kickstarter that will allow you to print something similar to this using your iPhone. You can look for yourself. The website is olo3d.net. $100 and an app, and you can 3D print using your cell phone. Third is the cost of the program. They're asking for $1.8 million, and they're going to have to provide another $50,000 a year for an instructor. If that program lasts 10 years, and that's a big if it lasts 10 years, that's $2.3 million that we're going to spend to put 180 students out of GW at a cost of $12,000 plus per student, above and beyond what we're already paying per student. You are doing a disservice to the rest of the school community if you spend that much more money per pupil per year on a selected few. For those three reasons, I'm asking you not to give them that money. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on any item not on? Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Michael Miller. I live on Franklin Turnpike. What I want to speak to, get you to think about, if I can, is an idea that I've been rolling around for a couple of years, and I wish you'd give it some consideration, and maybe you have and dismissed it and I just have missed it. But in all of the access to the Riverwalk Trail, what is sadly lacking is any access from North Danville, particularly at North Main. I think that the council could find, or the city could find some funds to put a pedestrian bridge across 58. This is a win-win-win idea, in that it opens up access to the trail, which has been touted as beneficial to everybody's lifestyle, except the north side. And that's, I spent probably a little over 2 years working on the North Main Hill, just above the intersection, and countless times saw women with a toddler, carrying a baby, and one in a stroller, struggling to get across 58. It is a survival skill. People who are infirm cannot hurry across that intersection in the time that the light provides, the walk signal provides. I've walked it myself, many times, and every time I do, I think, how do women do it? How do old people do it? How do people who are out of shape do it and make it across without hurrying? Then you've got people that are taking a right, on a red, but they're not really consistent or considerate of the pedestrians that might be in the crosswalk. It's something that when you look at, you want to open up the trail to everybody. Well, if you look at what you've done so far, you've opened it up to everybody but the north side. And, if you've read Obama's life story, you know how important the novel The Bridge was to him. And I think Danville is emulating that, in that by not putting in a pedestrian bridge, and we're not, they spent that much money making the U-turn, at Main, at the north entrance, or the north exit of the bridge. They spent that much money making the U-turn so that there would be access to the trail. But you can find no access to the trail from the north side of the city. They're talking about, and maybe you've already decided on this, putting access to the trail as far out as Sandy Level. Is that right? And if that's the case, has it not occurred to anybody to open up, and I'm surprised that a pedestrian bridge across 58 right there hasn't already come to somebody's attention. It's a dangerous crossing for people on feet. And you could put a pedestrian bridge. Number one, the people on North Main have the least amount of discretionary income for recreation. The Riverwalk is free. I've heard Lee, Mr. Vogler, say a number of times that the trail accommodates 1,000 people a day. I find that hard to believe. But if you open up the north side of the city, it may open up the access not only to the River District, to the people who live in North Main, but it will open up North Main to the people who, use the trail. They could run up to 616 and have lunch. They could go up to the Northside Theater for a matinee performance, but they can't on bicycles now in a group. They could. They go on places in groups on bicycles, but they can't do it without a pedestrian bridge because, again, if you take a bicycle and you try to cross 58 at that intersection, good luck. You're taking your life in your hands. And I got 45 seconds, but you can have it. Is that all? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Before we continue, those who are standing, there's room inside. Feel free to come in and have a seat. There's room for you. There's room for you. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on any item not on the agenda? Anyone else? Okay, before we continue, Mr. Attorney, do you have a document for council that we need to add to the agenda?
I do, sir.
Okay. And while Mr. Whitfield is passing on the document, let me just say that Councilman Jones could not be here tonight. He had another obligation that he had to make, so we do regret the fact that he is not here at this time. Okay, each member has the document. Is there a motion for approval to add this to the agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Mr. Jenks, the second. Mr. Vogel.
Second.
Discussion of the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones? Vice Mayor Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh,
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks,
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to pass the resolution? Mr. Campbell. The very top, just the top.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move for resolution appointing Kenny L. Logan as city manager for the city of Danville, Virginia, and appointing and authorizing the execution of the city manager employment agreement.
Is there a second, Mr. Vice Mayor? Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
We will hear from Mr. Locking in just a second. As we all know, Mr. King retired November 30th of 2015, and Ken has served as interim city manager since November 1 of 2015, 5 months. The position has been vacant and has been advertised. A national search was conducted. The city received many applications. Council interviewed many candidates. Ken Larkin was selected to be Danville's next city manager, effective today. Ken has 3 years employment with the city of Danville. Ken comes to us to Danville with over 18 years of local government experience. He holds bachelor's and master's degrees from Appalachian State University. He's married to Michelle Larkin. They have 2 children, Alex and Amy. We welcome Ken to his new position. Statement, sir?
Thank you very much. I want to thank the City Council for their confidence in me to serve as our community's next city manager. When I chose a career in public service, it was because I wanted to play a greater role in making a difference in my community. Now that I've been in Danville for a few years, I've witnessed firsthand how passionate our City Council and other city leaders are for their community. There is a willingness to take bold action to overcome past challenges and build a place where everyone has an opportunity to participate in our success, regardless of their background. For me, it's been rewarding to play a part in this effort, and I look forward to continuing to serve Danville as city manager. Since I live here, I am now not only motivated by my love for public service, I have a vested interest in the success of this community. My family has had time to take root in Danville, make friends, and experience everything this area has to offer. My kids are at an age where they are building what will become lifelong friendships. It is an exciting time to be in Danville, and I count myself as fortunate to be here right now. People have seen the tremendous potential we have in our city and are making significant investments on our river district and other parts of the city. We have a creative and talented team of public servants who are focused on implementing the vision our leaders have for Danville, and I intend to work hard with the people on our team, both inside and outside of city government, to build on our recent success. Thank you very much for your confidence.
And thank you, sir. I want to let you know that Councilman Jones could not be here tonight, but he did tell me if he was here, his vote would be yes, so it's unanimous.
Thank you.
We have one last thing to do. Madam Clerk, will you join Madam Clerk, sir? And if your family is here, will you please come join our new city manager? You like to introduce as they come, Ken?
All right.
Okay.
This is my wife, Michelle, my daughter, Emma, and my son, Alex.
Welcome.
And I appreciate them being able to be up here with me, and thank you for indulging me, City Council, for having them up here.
Okay. All right. Would you raise your right hand? Do you, Kenneth F. Larkin, solemnly swear, excuse me, that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon you as city manager of the city of Danville, Virginia, according to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you give it us, please? Thank you. Council members, before we continue, any remarks from council, Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes, for the past 3 years, first as deputy city manager and now as interim city manager, Ken Larking has demonstrated exemplary public service. He's worked very well with the council. He's shown his value to this city. He's striving to improve customer service. He is working very hard to improve the economic environment of our city. I am very much looking forward to working with him in the next few years. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. Mr. James.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I agree with Dr. Miller with everything he stated, but I also want to emphasize that I, during this period, have seen the open communication from Ken that makes all of us work better as a team. And I'll say this, we interviewed 7 people from Maine to Florida here, 6 or 7, and over a day-long interviews, we were brought a list of people, a short list that came from about 55 or 60 applicants. I have no qualms whatsoever in the effort that we made in determining who was the best person to be city manager for the city of Danville at this time, and that person undoubtedly is Ken Larkin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, I'd like to ditto some words that have already been stated. I've called Ken several times on different issues, and he did not procrastinate at all. He was very efficient. If he was not sure, he would say, "I'll get back with you, let me check into a few things." I discerned that he really loves the city of Danville, and the knowledge that he has in his interest is second to none. I would agree with Shanks, Councilman Shanks, that there were many applicants, and there were some excellent applicants, but we just couldn't overlook Ken Larkin for the efficiency, the knowledge that he has, and I think that we all will be impressed to move forward with the city of Danville, and that we can just turn the page and just keep going. And I'm so glad, Ken, that you are now definitely our city manager. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Butler.
Yeah, Ken, just welcome, man. We're really excited and look forward to many, many years of service from you, and congratulations, man. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vogler.
Yeah, in many ways, the last couple of years has been a time for new beginnings in Danville, and I think tonight is another step in that direction. And Ken, I have no doubt that you're the right man for this job, and that you have the vision and the energy and the wisdom to do this job and to do it well. And as has been mentioned by others, the level of communication and the time that you have been in the position has been tremendous. And the teamwork that we've seen between council and you and everyone on the city staff working together, moving in the same direction, moving this city forward, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Raleigh.
Ken, I'm a short timer. I'm not going to be around much longer, and but I appreciate your critical thinking skills. I personally appreciate your calmness. I get a little hyper, but your calmness in tough situations and the way you communicate with the council members, I know you're going to do a great job. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, just to say that, Mr. Larkin, we know you will, Mr. Gilstrap.
First, Ken, let me wish you happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh.
And
okay.
Sorry you didn't get your day off. Second, let me congratulate you. You were an outstanding candidate. You had the council's total support. And I know that with your team, we're going to see progress in this city, and look forward to working with you, and what a lovely family you have, and happens to be neighbors close by. So anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
Birthday, huh? Okay, didn't know that. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
We know you'll do well. We know that you know you're joining a wonderful city with 1,100 wonderful employees and about 43,000 wonderful citizens. And we know you will do well. and you have a wonderful family who will be supporting you in this effort. Thank you for taking this challenge. You have a wonderful council to work with, okay? A lot of wonderfuls tonight, all right? And we have great expectations, and we know you will meet them all. And already Inez has raised the bar. She's raised the bar. So welcome, sir. We're glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve our minutes of our March 1st meeting? Mr. Buckner, is there a second? Mr. Vice Mayor, discussion of the motion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
All right.
New business, consideration of adopting an ordinance to vacate acreage on Pine Street. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak? Close the public hearing. Mr. Buckner.
Yep, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve an ordinance vacating a 0.005 acre public alley off of Pine Street.
Okay. Second, Ms. Vice Mayor. Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
All right.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Consider adopting an ordinance granting a special use permit on Memorial Drive. I open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Good evening. My
Good
name
evening.
is Leslie Barksdale. I'm here with Dewberry. I'm here to answer any questions that the public or the council may have. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Anyone else? Mr.
I do have one question.
Question, okay, Mr. Raleigh.
And I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I see that we're having a holding tank in the restroom,
Correct.
and it has to be pumped. Who pays for pumping that out?
When it's taken over by the city will have to pay to get it pumped.
Right, and we take it over as soon as the project is finished?
Yes.
Okay, and that's the way that's cheaper than running a sewer line, or you can't get deep enough for the water table, is that it?
Correct.
Okay,
Anything to add, Mr. Gilly?
thank you.
Anything to add?
The raw water intake for the city's water system is kind of in the way for the installation of a sewer line.
Right.
So they recently went to the Board of Zoning Appeals, obtained a variance to allow for the installation of the pump and haul system. So that part's already been addressed through another means in the code. The city does take over the removal. We do that now with the facility that we have at Anglers Park. So this is not something out of the ordinary for us.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Shanks.
Well, it's not out of the ordinary for the city of Danville to grant such special exceptions, no, but my concern is this, and I think Mr. Raleigh was getting to the point. It's a lot cheaper for Duke Power Energy to put in a system that has to be pumped out by a septic tank company as opposed to putting in a pump station to pump it back to a gravity line. Is there no way that could have been pumped with a pump paid for by Duke Energy, Duke Power, to pump that effluent back to a manhole?
Well, the city would be responsible for any electrical services and others to the building. So if we put in...
Wait a minute, hold on.
It would be
What
us.
did Duke do this for us, or is this something we're doing?
No, this is, I believe...
This is Duke Energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
The longer maintenance, I believe, is our facility. So we would be responsible for the pump or any other maintenance issues with the pump. Not septic system, but the pump and haul system is a very efficient system. And again, we use it at Anglers, and it's pumped out on a very infrequent basis, only as necessary. And it's...
Well, I'm not going to argue with staff, but I really think it's unfortunate the city's going to get stuck with that cost when it could have been a pump installed by the people who were responsible for the ash that was spilled in our river. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Gilstrap.
Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of an ordinance granting a special use permit for the installation of an accessory building without a primary building in accordance with Article 3C, Section C, Item 23 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended at 2020 Memorial Drive.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Buckner, discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones.
To adopt an ordinance to amend Chapter 41 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia. I open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Anyone wish to speak? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Vogler.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 41 entitled Zoning Ordinance of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended, more specifically Article 15 entitled Definitions, Section B entitled Definitions, to create a definition for indoor shooting facilities, Article 3M entitled HRC, Highway Retail Commercial, Section C entitled Uses Permitted by Special Use Permit, by adding item number 26 to allow for indoor shooting facilities, and Article 3J entitled NC Neighborhood Commercial, Section C entitled Uses Permitted by Special Use Permit, by adding item number 20 to allow for urban agriculture.
Okay, is there a second, Mr. Buckner? Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Rowley.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
An ordinance granting a special use permit for the operation of an indoor shooting facility. I open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Saunders.
Good evening.
Mr. City Manager, and members of Danville City Council. I am Ed Paul Hamus, a resident of Howland Circle, and I'm here this evening as chairman of the School Board of the City of Danville. I want to provide to you the statement from our school board meeting on March 17th of this year regarding the board's stated opposition to the indoor shooting range. The board states, and I quote, "The school board collectively and individually has no opposition to the construction of this training facility in Danville. Our only opposition was based on the proximity of the proposed facility to two of our schools." Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Further discussion? Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Phil Strader. I live in Windsor Heights, and I am actually here to answer any questions that anyone has regarding the proposed indoor shooting facility.
Mr. Vogler.
Mr. Strader, thank you for being here today. Just for information purposes for council and those who are here tonight and those who are watching, the walls on the inside of this facility would be how thick?
There would be approximately 4 feet thick, just to fit within range construction guidelines. Any indoor shooting range is heavily mandated how to be built, how to be constructed for sound mitigation, and obviously for lead contamination. So my intent is to go beyond that regulation.
And all activities, it's all confined indoor, nothing outdoor, everyone's coming inside, everything.
Correct. Everything would be, all training, all retail would be indoors.
Thank you.
Can you say just a little bit, sir, about once you exit your vehicle to enter your facility, once you leave your facility, getting back to your vehicle, any safety precautions, anything at all?
There's actually an ATF regulation regarding
ATF?
ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. It's a federal agency that regulates firearms transactions, among other things. And they have a regulation regarding 1,000 feet within schools. It is unlawful for certain individuals to carry a firearm concealed on school property, and that federal regulation mandates that school property is 1,000 feet within the school. However, there are certain steps that can be taken. I've already been in contact with the ATF regarding signage on the building to where it basically states the code and mandates, according to that code, that no firearms are allowed to be concealed, loaded firearms. So within the letter of the law, if someone could come from their vehicle through the parking lot into the building, they are technically in public, they are in public, they are within that circle, and they technically would have to have their gun locked and unloaded, unless they fall within certain regulations, obviously law enforcement, certain people with certain concealed carry permits, that kind of thing. But with those signs on the front of the building, even as I was told, even without them, it would still be okay, but I intend to make sure that the public knows this is a federal mandate, so that way we're covered and the public knows that what the law is regarding the federal statutes. But
I don't know what kind of control, if any, that you have for your customers before they enter your facility. Will there be some encouragement in terms of people bringing the weapon inside your facility and when they leave your facility to make sure they are not loaded?
Yes,
in
sir.
terms of
That's
accidental discharge.
Well, that's the purpose of the signs, is so we can ensure that the public knows that according to the letter of the law, when you bring your firearm into the store, unless, of course, you don't fall within these regulations. I mean, if someone has a permit that allows them to carry within that 1,000-foot zone, I can't trump the law of the land with an administrative regulation. But yes, it will be very clear to the customers coming in and coming out of the store what the federal guidelines are for a quote-unquote an ATF regulated school zone. Yes.
And the last follow-up for me, I take it that you have the necessary required insurance.
Well, if once construction starts, yes, absolutely. That's one of the more expensive parts of this plan. But yes, I've actually owned an indoor shooting range before. I've been in the shooting industry for 20 years now, and so the ins and outs of it, I'm still pretty familiar with, and not having insurance is actually more of a liability for all purposes.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Strader, for being here. Why did you decide on that location?
Say again, sir?
Why did you decide on that location?
You know, it's funny. I'd had this idea for years. Even when I wasn't living in the city, I was in Oklahoma and Washington, D.C., and I always thought, this would be, I was wondering why the city didn't have one. And I started making moves to see what was involved, see what hurdles I had to jump over, and seeing exactly what was involved through the processes. And it was completely by chance. I found this piece of property. It was on Riverside Drive. It was oddly inexpensive. And when I walked the property, I realized that the reason it was inexpensive is because of the shape of the land. It was extremely narrow, in some places buildable narrowness was 80 feet wide. Yet it was to the left of the sewage line was 230 feet long, 240 feet actually, buildable space. And there's only really two businesses that I could conceivably think of to build there, and I'm not an expert in bowling. So the indoor shooting range to me, it became almost an epiphany to say, well, that seems to me that would be a perfect place to have it. It's on a hill, it's high visibility, it's over 400 feet away from the schools. And sound mitigation won't be an issue since the way the range will be constructed, there will be no sound. The way the range will be constructed, there will be no chances of rounds leaving the building, which is a misperception by a lot of people who don't know a lot about shooting ranges. It's almost impossible for that to happen. It just came to me when I saw that piece of property. I thought that seems like an ideal place for it.
Mr. Mayor, I have two more short questions. Could you restate again, how many feet are you from the school?
From a bird's eye view of an aerial photograph, it was 400, just over 400 feet from Apollo Avenue. I'm not sure exactly where the school grounds start and end in regards to Apollo, but from the top left-hand corner of my lot to Apollo Avenue was just over 400 feet.
And you stated something about the ATF in reference to 1,000 feet. Could you said something about 1,000
Yes,
feet.
sir.
Could you elaborate again?
It was something that I researched a while ago, just to make sure that I could be covered as far as firearm sales. If an establishment that sells firearms within that 1,000 feet, they have to know that law. They have to be made aware of that law, and they have to make their customers made aware of that law. And when I spoke to the ATF, they actually looked at their records and realized, well, there's a pawn shop right next to where, that sells firearms, right next to the lot where I would be building this if approved. And he said, look, the ATF told me that this would not be an issue simply because if you post the signs and let your public know that this is the law, this is regulated, and leave it on their shoulders to do the right thing. Obviously, I can't mandate it as a private business owner, but I can certainly make it known to the public who come in and out of the range.
And lastly, you see no danger in reference to the schools in which you want to do?
Absolutely zero danger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, since you are near a school, what are the regulations regarding minors and how will you enforce those?
No different than any other establishment that sells firearms. For my business, my former shooting range, anyone under the age of 21 was not allowed unless they had adult supervision. And in this state, you can't purchase certain firearms under the age of 21 anyway, so it would be extremely tightly regulated in regards to minors.
Thank you.
Just simply because of the laws that exist right now.
Thank you.
Other questions? One last follow-up.
Yes, sir.
Again, I know that your control is inside the facility. I understand that. And in terms of proximity, am I correct, Dr. Paul Hamus, that the school system weapons are not allowed on the property? Okay, so for your customers, if they're coming to your facility, and while they're going to go by the school to pick up their children with a weapon in the car, can your customers be encouraged not to go on the school property to get their children with a weapon in the car?
Well, my customers will be encouraged to obey all firearms laws. That being, of course, one of them. But for me to try to enact specific regulations and specific requests to customers, I will also, encourage customers to not carry a concealed carry firearm in a place that serves alcohol. But I will obviously, my intent is to make the public more trained, more educated, and more responsible as far as the use of firearms and their carry. But I will definitely ensure that all of our customers know the laws.
Thank you.
One short question, Mr. Mayor. And the entrance
yes.
to the building would be from Riverside Drive?
No, sir, the entrance actually would be from Camelot Court.
Mr. Shanks.
Camelot Court, though, comes off of Riverside.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. Can you, I'm familiar with the property, but I haven't stood on the back line of your property and looked north towards the school. Can you describe what's between your north property line and the school?
To the north of the property line is a physical therapy center.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the rehab center, the whole rehab.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. To the east of that property is the Mayflower Restaurant, and of course due south is Riverside Drive.
And
to the west of the property is a tax preparation service, I think Riverside Pond, and I think a storage facility or a hall. I'm not exactly positive. Sure.
I was familiar with all that down there, but I haven't actually stood up on that end of the property. That's why I asked. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council,
Good evening.
congratulations, Mr. Larkin. I'm here, my name is Neil Morris, and I'm a resident of the city. I'm here to speak on behalf and support the building of a facility, an indoor firing range. They are the most safe firing range you can have because you don't have to worry about stray bullets, you don't have to worry about noise, and if you're like me, I can't go anywhere that people are not concerned about crime, and I'm sure they catch you everywhere you go. Many of them are telling me that they're buying weapons, and I think some of them are not really that good with that weapon. This indoor range would give them a place to go at any time, regardless of what the weather is, and become proficient with that weapon. There's two things they could learn: how to use it and when to use it. Now, I want to say something about Philip Strader. I don't know if he has told you his background or not. He started with the Danville Police Department, and he left us and went to the U.S. Capitol Police in Washington, D.C., and he has an outstanding knowledge and proficiency with firearms. He became their firearms instructor for the entire Capitol Police. I know that he is a responsible young man. I know that he will operate it properly. He will give all the safety instructions that can possibly be given. And I really think this would be something that would be a welcome addition to the city of Danville. And I thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Raleigh.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance granting a special use permit for the operation of an indoor shooting facility in accordance with Article 3M, Section C, Item Number 26 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended on parcel ID number 59740, otherwise known as Grid 1707, Block 008, Parcel 000012 of the City of Danville, Virginia zoning district map.
Second, Mr. Shanks. Discussion of the motion. Mr. Vogler.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Strader for being here tonight and thank Chief Morris for coming and speaking. As has been mentioned, this is a need in the community for an indoor facility of this kind, and I can tell you personally the feedback I've received in the time that this has been public has been overwhelmingly in favor of approving this project because it's a good project and it will provide a safe, secure environment for law-abiding citizens to exercise their Second Amendment right. Now, I understand the concern about the proximity to the school, but as has been mentioned, Mr. Strader is going above and beyond what is required to make sure that this facility is safe and secure. And in terms of having guns nearby a school, I would think if anything, if someone was thinking about doing harm at a school, having a facility of this kind nearby would be a deterrent to know that there are that many law-abiding citizens that are carrying weapons that nearby. So I am in favor of this project and will be voting to support it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
An ordinance granting a special use permit for the operation of an urban agriculture. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Anthony Porch. I'm representing North Main Baptist Church and love to answer any questions or concerns you may have.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Gilstrap.
Mayor, I move adoption of an ordinance granting a special use permit for the operation of urban agricultural in accordance with Article 3J, Section C, Item 20 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended on parcel ID 54691, otherwise known as Grid 2806, Block 012, Parcel 000001 of the City of Danville, Virginia, zoning district map subject to conditions.
Okay, a second, Mr. Vogler. Discussion on the motion. Mr. Raleigh.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to thank North Main Baptist Church for doing this. It's a great project. We thank you for the ministry that will come out of it. Thank you very much.
Further discussion? Mr. Buckner.
Yeah, I too wanted to thank North Main Baptist for everything that they're doing to serve the community in so many ways, and this is just another way for you guys to serve, and I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
Further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Shanks.
Aye.
Mr. Vogler.
Aye.
Mr. Buckner.
Aye.
Reverend Campbell.
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap.
Aye.
Mr. Jones. Vice Mayor Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh.
Aye.
Mayor Saunders.
Aye. An ordinance granting a special use permit for a waiver of yard requirement. Open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Madison Whittle, and just here to answer any questions for staff.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Question from Mr. Whittle? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else? Close the public hearing. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Shanks.
Mayor, I have a statement to read.
Yes, please.
I, Fredo Shanks III, do hereby state that I have a conflict of interest regarding the consideration of the adoption of ordinance granting a special use permit for a waiver of yard requirements on parcel 73038. listed on the agenda as new business item F. Therefore, I must abstain from voting on this matter.
Question for further discussion? Further discussion. Please call the roll.
We haven't read it yet.
Close the public hearing.
And we need a motion and a second.
Close the public hearing.
Yes, close the public hearing.
Sorry, got a little carried away. Close the public hearing.
Sorry about that, I messed up.
Now, council, your pleasure. Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Mayor, I move for orders granting a special use permit for a waiver of yard requirements in accordance with Article 3 in Section C, item number 21 of the Code of the City of Danville, Virginia, 1986, as amended on the parcel ID number 73038, otherwise known as Grid 1815, Block 004, parcel 00012 of the City of Danville, Virginia, zoning district map.
There's a second? Mr. Raleigh. Mr. Shanks, I owe you one.
Yeah, you do, you do.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Discussion on the motion. Please call the roll.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Buckner?
Aye.
Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Aye.
Mr. Jones? Vice Mayor Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Raleigh?
Aye.
Mayor Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Abstain.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, Mr. Attorney, all the council members, everybody. Got ahead of myself. Sorry about that. An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2016 of budget appropriation ordinance to provide for a grant from Virginia Department of Emergency Management. Council, your pleasure. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to have the council approve an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2016 budget appropriation ordinance to provide for a grant from the Virginia Department of Energy Management in an amount of $31,033 to upgrade, expand, and sustain the equipment of the Danville Regional Hazardous Materials Response Team and appropriating same.
The second, Mr. Buckner. Discussion on the motion. First reading. Communication. Officially, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Actually, I do have something this evening. Some of you may have received this. Some of our city council members may have received this magazine. We were featured on the VML's Virginia Town and City magazine again. We've been featured on it before, but this is a story about the job that we did in rebranding our river district and the event that occurred on May 1st of last year. It's a very good read, and all local government leaders throughout the state are going to be getting this magazine and seeing what great things are happening in Danville. And I wanted to also thank my family again for being here tonight. And thank you.
Did you plan that cover announcement for tonight?
I'd like to take credit, but Arnold Hendricks did most of the work on this.
The answer is quietly yes. No, don't do that. Thank you, sir. Mr. Attorney.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Larking, and I look forward to working together for many, many years.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
I've said enough, thanks.
You said enough. Okay. Please call the roll.
Mr. Buckner?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to say, Ken, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to your new position. We know you're going to do great. Also, I'd like to let people know about the job fair that's being held at the Institute for Advanced Learning on April 7th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. There'll be over 30 companies hiring for over 800 jobs, most of which are full-time positions. Secondly, rock and roll legend Ace Frehley will be in Danville this Thursday night at 7 p.m. at the Caring Pavilion. I believe some tickets are still available, so make sure you pick some up. You don't want to miss it, that's for sure. And last but not least, I want to thank you all for being here tonight and taking such an interest in our cities, the betterment of our city. Thank you so much.
Regarding the rock and roll event, will you be playing your guitar?
Yes, sir, absolutely. You gonna come?
Be there.
I'll play if you'll be there, that's right.
Thank you.
Reverend Campbell?
Yes, I want to salute you once again, Ken. We are looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Gilstrap?
Again, Ken, congratulations. And Mr. Larkin's family, you're welcome anytime. We'd love to have you back. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones? Vice Mayor Miller?
Yeah, I want to congratulate Ken once again, and give condolences to his family. They're not just here tonight, they have to live the trials and the tribulations of the city 24/7. But they're a great family. They've taken an active role in our church and are pillars of the church, and I've enjoyed meeting all of them, and my condolences to you. A couple of big announcements. As Ken mentioned, the Virginia Towns and Cities, the article by Arnold Hendricks is outstanding. You need to read it. And then the Main Street USA designation. We got that last week. The city employees worked very hard, and we entertained Main Street to the people for about 2 to 3 days, and that came through. And I want to also give a plug for the North Theater. Wayne Allen's put his heart and soul in that theater. He bought it. He's doing his darndest to make it a success. Last weekend they had the Embers there, the beach music group. They played for almost 3 hours for $20. You can't beat that. People were dancing in the aisles. This weekend they have a Beatles tribute band. So what you need to do is get your significant other, go to dinner at the Thai restaurant or the 616 and walk across the street and enjoy the music. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Raleigh?
Yeah.
Again, congratulations, Ken. This weekend, the Parks and Rec Department is hosting again, the City of Danville, the Duke World Rugby Championship. We will have teams from all over the world. These are the best MBA schools in our country and around the world that will be here. Why they play this sport, I don't know. They're smart men and women, but they do have women's teams too. But if you have a chance, they really have a good time. This is going to be at Anglers Park all day Saturday. They start at 8 a.m. and finish up around 5. And then Sunday, they go through the eliminations. And approximately 3:30, 4 o'clock is a championship game. But it's a great opportunity for the way I look at it is this: these men and women that are in these MBA schools, such as Yale, Harvard, Wharton, UCLA, Texas, Stanford, Duke, North Carolina, Virginia. I mean, it's the best schools in the country. Yeah, teams from Ireland and other European countries. But it's 10 years from now, these will be the men and women to be making decisions, economic development decisions. That's why I love connecting with them. And the city does an excellent job in how they follow up and communicate with them. And we have just a great relationship with the Duke team who host it. So we're glad to have him come in. And I also would like to give a shout out to Dr. Mark Herman and his group and the announcement that they had this weekend with their new name. And hopefully it'll be more tours soon that you can go down to see. That building is going to be spectacular. And I just love seeing that building. It's got a lot of history in that building that it's coming alive. But we thank Dr. Herman and these local men and women who are putting their money where their mouth is. We really do appreciate them. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Shanks?
Yes, I didn't really have anything else to add. I've said all I needed to say, and everybody else has said pretty much welcome to Ken, so I'm not going to go there now. But I want to just say something that came up tonight, and I want to apologize to Mr. Gilley and to the engineer or architect that was here from Dewberry. I got a little anxious, and I was not anxious with either of those people. But I think I would like to ask Mr. Larkin, as his first assignment as new manager, if he could get with Public Works and look at the life cycle of a effluent pump that would be needed to pump at Anglers Park. Consider, let's say it has a life cycle of 10 years or 8 years, whatever it is, and run the numbers on how much it's going to cost to pump that much versus how much it's going to cost to pump in the hall. Because I see if Duke Energy had wanted to give this to our city as part of their redemption, I don't think we should get caught with a bill. It won't be a huge bill, but we should not get caught with any bill.
Amen.
on this. And I believe that by the time you figure 8 years worth of pump and haul versus 8 years worth of building a line, it's going to be more expensive to build a line, but it's going to be expensive to pump and haul. And I believe that line should be built. But I'm leaving that up to Public Works and Mr. Larkin. But in my opinion, that line should be built and paid for by Duke Power, Duke Energy, and not create an annual expense for the city. Thank you. That's all I had, and I didn't have that to start with. So I apologize for.
Thank you, Mr. Shanks.
Thank
you. You served as chairman of the Planning Commission for was it 8 or 12 years?
12.
12 years. Then I think we all know, a lot of us know, most of us know, that Ken, and thank you for what you said regarding Mr. Gilley, you have a tough job, really a thankless job. You have a lot of authority and power invested in you to make decisions. And oftentimes you don't make people happy, but you do your job extremely well, and you take a lot of stuff, but that's the professional that you are. And thank you for serving in that position. Everybody couldn't do what you do, and you do it well. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Vogler.
Ken, congratulations again. I wanted to start tonight by recognizing one of our great local businesses located in the River District, Mee's Burgers. Had a chance to eat dinner down there tonight before we had the meeting, and they just changed up their menu again and have a lot of great new items. They opened the patio up, so as the weather gets warmer here soon, people will be able to sit out by the fountain in the plaza down on the river. Go check them out. One of many great local businesses we have here in Danville. As Councilman Buckner mentioned, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member and founding member of KISS, Ace Frehley, will be playing at the Carrington Pavilion Thursday night. Tickets are still available. I think if you go to yesweekly.com, you can go get them. But great show, looking forward to it. And the Beatle Tribute Show at the North Theater this weekend, and many other great events. A lot of good things happening in Danville this weekend. I wanted to mention something. A friend of mine, Aubrey Swanson, gave me this as a gift the other day. He got it in an auction down in Mebane, Virginia. This is the Charter and General Ordinances of the City of Danville, Virginia that was printed in the 1920s. And he gave this to me, and I tell you, I hadn't had a chance to read through all of it yet, but it's a pretty neat thing to have, and I wanted to thank him for giving it to me, and something that I'll cherish. But it's something neat to have. He picked it up in an auction, so it's great to see where we've come over almost 100 years now as a city, and to have that. I want to thank everyone that came here tonight. I did want to mention we have a special guest. He begged me not to do this, but I'm going to embarrass him anyway. My roommate from college at VCU and good friend Charles Thompson's hiding in the back tonight, but he lives in Northern Virginia now, but he came down to visit for a few days, and just want to thank him for being here. Lastly, I just want to reiterate what's been mentioned about the great news and the announcements and the ribbon cuttings and all the wonderful things that have happened in our city in these last few weeks. And really, when you think about the last several years now, we as a city have accomplished some great things, and we still face many challenges like any other city does, but I know that we will overcome them, we will face them, we will overcome them together. And I'm very confident about the direction our city is heading in, and we as a city will continue to do great things. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor Saunders.
Thank you, Dr. Paul Hamels, for coming tonight, and also Attorney Stephen Gold. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Ken, congratulations. We know you will do well. And to your family, congratulations as well, and thank you for supporting this young man. And with regards to the book 1920, Mr. Vogler, if you check, you will see the autograph by Mr. John Gilstrap, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah, 1920. Okay, thank you. Yes, many good things are happening in Danville, as you heard before. We had the Main Street designation recently. The Pace on Main was opened as well. The new facility, the old Dan River Research Center, they have a new name unveiled. Anybody recall the new name that was unveiled? Spectrum. Unveiled last week as well, and more good news to come. So great things are happening in our city. So thank you all of our employees, all the citizens and council, thank you for what you do every day as well. Let's take about a 10 to a 12-minute break before we go to our work session. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.